All right, hey, what's up, YouTubers? Welcome back to a Toddy Walnuts DVD horror collection overview video, part number 9 already. It's hard to believe we have about 9 hours worth of DVDs in. I still have a lot more to show. I'm gonna start here with a stack of full moon goodies, and then we'll transition into some Code Red stuff, and then I'll just start pulling out of a bin. Got a couple candles lit. I got my 2 besties here, and we got movies. What else do you need for a Sunday afternoon? Hope you guys are having a great weekend. Get yourselves comfortable, get a snack and a beverage, and let's check out some DVDs. The first one here is called Horror Vision. This is the Lunar edition, the premiere DVD collection. This is a pretty decent low-budget sci-fi film with some horror elements splashed into it. Some pretty awesome stuff here. It was the story was written by J.R. Bookwalter. You guys may know him. And it was directed by Danny Draven. Came out in 2000. And I enjoy sci-fi, horror, all that kind of stuff. I like gangster movies, and I like it when sci-fi and horror kind of blend together. So that's what you have here with Horror Vision. Let me pull these over here again. The next one is called Totem. The Shape of Nightmares to Come. Let me see. This one came out in 1999. Produced by Charles Band, directed by Martin Tate. I don't have much to say about this because I don't remember it. I don't know if I've watched this one or not. It's not ringing a bell. Back to some of these full moon grindhouse movies. These are really fun. And this one's called Tormentor. This one was from 1973. Rated R. Ketty, a photographer living in Rome, accidentally witnesses the murder of a young woman at the hands of a razor-wielding maniac. Ketty and her fiancé Alberto go to the police, only to learn that 2 other witnesses to the crime have been slashed to death. Ketty fears that she will be the next victim when her ballerina friend Magda is brutally killed by the same elusive culprit. The police are baffled, unable to find a motive. It is Alberto who discovers the connection. All the murdered girls were dancers. Investigating further, Ketty finds a photo identifying the killer. But before she can warn Alberto, Ketty is trapped in a lonely greenhouse, stalked by a homicidal madman. Was it Alberto? We'll have to tune in to find out. But this is what I was saying earlier in one of the previous videos in this series. Back in the day, Full Moon used to release some really good stuff before it started getting silly about Bong of the Dead and stuff like that. I mean, they really had some good stuff. These old slashers from the 70s. Really good stuff. Here's a sword and sandal picture. This one's called Thor The Conqueror. I enjoy these adventure type movies too. This one came out in 1983, so they were definitely trying to cash in on the success of Conan and movies like that. A tale of mythology and magic, of how Thor, a legendary god, triumphs over the overwhelming odds to great victory and the destruction of his foes. Here's some Nazi exploitation, sexploitation. This one's called SS Hell Camp. Horrifying experiences during the last days of the SS. I always thought that was a great cover. I have this on VHS too. And what they're doing with these DVD editions here is they're using the original VHS artwork and they're kind of framing it with this Full Moon Grindhouse Collection border. But on the VHS, it's just strictly that beautiful artwork, the painted covers, and they're absolutely gorgeous. And so this movie came out in 1977. It is unrated. It's full frame, full 4/3 letterbox, which means that it has the two sidebars on the left and right of the screen instead of the top and the bottom. Anamorphic widescreen is a much better way to view movies, but in the early days of VHS and DVD, a lot of the aspect ratio was 4:3 letterbox. Nothing you can do about it. And these are region 0, so I haven't tried it on. So I have a couple region-free players. So, but I'm not sure if this is actually region 0 like it says. Region 0 should play on any region player, but I don't want to tell you that because I didn't test it, and I don't want to give you bad information and have you guys order a bunch of these and it doesn't work on your player. So the moral of that story is go region-free. It's well worth it. The next one is called The Possessor. Nothing can satisfy her unholy hunger. And you can tell that that's clearly an Exorcist ripoff. And this one came out in 1986, unrated. Richard Conte there, he plays the priest. He was always an excellent actor. He was always kind of a second or third fiddle in the movies, but he was always a very good supporting actor. I always enjoy seeing him. There's what their version of Reagan looks like. The next one is called Necropolis. Beneath the metropolis is Necropolis, where they love New York to death. Punk rock zombie type movie. These were pretty popular in the 80s. These usually had pretty good soundtracks too. This one came out in 1987. Rated R, 77 minutes running time. Lusty Leanne Baker and Michael Conte take you down under to Necropolis in an action-packed zombie thriller that makes Night of the Living Dead look like a slumber party. The streets of New York are nothing like Eva remembers them. In those good old days, witches like Eva were roasted at the stake, but that was 300 years ago. If it wasn't for her indestructible magic ring, she would never have been reincarnated to her new life as a leather-clad, motorcycle-riding punkette. Drive-in style B-movies, these are fun. The next one is called Mutant Hunt. I believe this one has a Blu-ray release from Vinegar Syndrome, and I believe I do own that as well. I remember that long arm on that mutant. See how the long arm was kind of jacking that guy up by the throat? I remember that scene. This one came out in 1987 as well, rated R, 75 minutes running time. When New York is besieged by mutant cyborgs with an insatiable lust for ripping human beings apart, its dedicated mutant hunter Matt Riker to the speedy rescue, a diabolical scientist named Z, or Zed, as the Europeans like to call it, has injected these mechanical zombies with a sexual narcotic that induces a thirst for killing. All over Manhattan, the robotic Romeos begin loving them and leaving them dead. I never said it was a good movie. I just said that I have an upgrade on Blu-ray, but it's not bad. I mean, it's ridiculous fun. B-movie drive-in style. Here is Mansion of the Doomed. Look at that cover. It says, what happens is so horrifying we can't even hint at it in this poster. This movie came out in 1976, rated R. I see you. That guy has seen better days. So, Dr. Cheney and his beloved daughter, Nancy, survive a terrible car accident which leaves Nancy blind. Cheney, guilt-stricken from being responsible, turns into a mad surgeon, obsessed with finding a way to restore his daughter's vision. But when he decides to drug victims, removing their eyes to operate on his daughter, terror unfolds and Cheney's mansion becomes a dungeon filled with disfigured captives, rising up to take their revenge. Lance Henriksen's in here. Very, very cool. And special effects by Stan Winston. Mansion of the Doomed. The next one is called Intruder. This is the unrated director's cut. I have this on DVD a couple different times. I think I showed a different edition in one of the previous videos in this series. This is the horror movie, slasher movie that takes place in a supermarket. Directed by Scott Spiegel, but it has Sam Raimi in it, and it also has the three legends of special effects: Greg Nicotero, Robert Kurtzman, and Howard Berger. Those are three of the best to ever do it. And this came out in 2013. It's 10 p.m. the night before Walnut Lake's neighborhood supermarket closes its doors forever. The owners and night crew have a long shift ahead of them, longer than they think. Ace checkout girl Jennifer has a deranged ex-boyfriend who is fresh out of prison. When he appears outside, weird things start to happen. The phone lines are cut, and the night crew starts dying one by one in the most gruesome ways imaginable. An ex-cop is trying to find out who the killer is and what possessed him to start the bloody rampage. But is it the ex-boyfriend, or is it somebody else? Or Sam Raimi? There's the lead girl, Jennifer, Renee Estevez. Look at those old boxes of cereal right there. Sugar Smacks. It's kind of blurry, but maybe you can still make it out. There's like a little display that she's right next to. This is a good movie. I really enjoy it. I'm sure most of you have seen this before, but if you haven't, do give it a check. Check it out. It does have a Blu-ray release too. Right, I'm going to pause it here really quick, move some stuff around, get a drink, and we'll continue. Okay, so continuing on, we have a few more of these Full Moon Grindhouse Collection movies. Another beautiful cover. This one's called Headless Eyes. There's a little warning sign. It says it's too gory for the silver screen. And this movie came out in 1986. It's unrated. 78 minutes. For fans who howled at the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Dawn of the Dead, more gruesome gore is in store with when blood fills the screen for Headless Eyes. An artist turned housebreaker is discovered by his victim. In their struggle, she gouges out his eye with a spoon. Oh man. With the eye hanging down his cheek by a nerve and driven insane by pain and horror, the artist seeks vengeance on the world and the sex that maimed him. He stalks beautiful women throughout the streets of New York, leaving a gory trail of hideously mutilated bodies that makes headlines and baffles police. Yeah, that pretty much sums up an 80s horror movie. Headless Eyes. The next one's called The Fraulein Devil. Another Nazi sexploitation movie. And this one came out in 1977. 90 minutes running time, unrated. Fraulein Kitty is the sadistic overseer of the Third Reich pleasure train loaded with young women to serve Hitler's combat officers. The pitiless Kitty delights in torturing and killing suspected traitors to the Fuhrer. French partisans have vowed to stop the evil train at all costs. Kitty's ex-lover Franz is the train's interpreter. Franz falls in love with Lizolat, one of the train's hostesses who secretly works for the resistance. The vengeful Kitty loses her fury on the lovers, but the train is about to be attacked by partisans who plan to battle to the death. That sounds very boring to me. I know some people are into this kind of weird subgenre of Nazi sexploitation movies, but I just can't really ever get into these. I don't think I will ever watch this unless one of you guys comment that it's really good and I'll give it a shot, but just from reading the back, it just doesn't sound very good to me at all. Next one's called Film Gore. This is kind of a documentary, so to speak. Documentary kind of compilation, I guess. It's hosted by Elvira, produced by Charles Band, music by Richard Band. It includes murderous movie moments from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Snuff, 2000 Maniacs, Driller, Killer, Blood Feast, and many more. So this is a pretty nice little, pretty fun little piece to get if you're a big horror fan. It's kind of like a greatest hits compilation of movie clips from some of the biggest movies, horror movies that ever were created. This came out in 1983. It's rated R, 85 minutes. If you guys are interested, go check out fullmoondirect.com and see if they still have these available. I bought these years ago, but I'm sure if you can't find them on their website, there's always eBay or Mercari or Etsy, a lot of the secondary markets, and they can't be very expensive. Next one is called Dreamaniac. You don't have to live on Elm Street to have a nightmare. And talk about a ripoff, right? That's cashing in on the Freddy coming through the wall over Nancy as she slept. Wake up and die. Also have this on VHS. Came out in 1986. So they couldn't wait to cash in on this because the original Nightmare on Elm Street came out in 84. Sorry, I had a text pop up on the screen. So this is rated R, 82 minutes running time. In the sleep-stirring tradition of Phantasm and A Nightmare on Elm Street, Dreamaniac introduces Lily, a deadly leading lady who makes Freddy look like a bargain basement boogeyman. Adam is a heavy metal rocker and a part-time Satanist. Oh my God. When Lily enters his dreams, he uses black magic to summon her into reality. Too late. Adam learns that Lily is a succubus, a demon seductress, who makes love to men and murders them, though not necessarily in that order. Oh boy. Next one's called End of the World. There's everything to look forward to except tomorrow. Classic science fiction thriller from 1977. I must have picked this one up at I don't remember where I got this. It must have been either at a thrift shop or I don't think I bought this at a video store that was going out of business. So anyway, this is from 1977, 88 minutes, rated PG. A little bit of alien goodness. Dr. Andrew Boren is picking up strange signals from outer space that seem to predict natural disasters. Next one's called Deathbed. Stuart Gordon was one of the greats to do it. He's no longer with us. This one came out in 2002. Let me see here. I'm not really recognizing any of the names, but she's quite pretty. I was trying to see if I maybe recognized her name, but I don't. Deathbed. All right, we got looks like we got about 4 more here for the full moon stuff, and then we'll move on. This one's called Blood of 1,000 Virgins. Welcome to a night of vampires and virgins, drunken devils and dirty darlings, and innocent violated 1,000 ways. Hosted by Playboy playmate Nikki Lee, movie mayhem is defiled flesh that will drive you insane. This must be another one of these kind of miscellaneous, kind of like a greatest hits for the sexploitation. Let's read a little bit about it here. The young and the innocent have their lives threatened by sick degenerates, evil creatures, and the devil himself. Will they escape with their virginity intact? Will they get revenge on the pervy attackers? Will our host make it out alive? All of these questions and more will be stripped down and explored in the sultriest series of trailers hosted by Playboy playmate Nikki Lee. Bear witness as our host guides you through topics like male and female virgins. Learn as she explains the many reasons for staying a virgin. Run in fear while being chased by those who hunt virgins. And watch the blood fly when the tables are turned with the revenge of the virgin. So stay intimately close to our host as you wade ankle deep through the blood of 1,000 virgins. Yikes. That's a lot. That's a lot to take in. Very pretty ladies, though. Pretty, pretty ladies. The next one is called Blood Dolls. This is the kind of stuff that they release these days, the more modern days. When they used to release some really good stuff back in the 70s and 80s, and even into the 90s, but a lot of this stuff, a lot of these doll type movies. And I don't mean to upset you or insult you if you're a fan of these kind of movies. I'm just saying that this is the kind of stuff that they deliver now. It came out in 1999. They're calling this one the director's cut. It's just not my thing. It doesn't mean that I'm sure there's a lot of people who love these kind of movies. And we have Badass Mother Effers. That's what it's called. Badass Mother Effers. If this movie ain't got it, you don't need it, baby. Fred the Hammer Williamson. There he is, right? Well, there he is there, and then there he is there. And everybody loves Fred the Hammer. What's going on here? What in the hell is going on here? So this movie came out in 2013, unrated, 101 minutes. Wow, 101 minutes for a movie like this? How many naps can you take in between? That's a long movie, man. All right, we'll just keep moving on. There's one more. This one's called Auditions. And that's not nudity. That's just a side cheek. Auditions, starring the next door neighbors you always dream about. What does that say? The only thing more erotic than an X-rated movie. Let me see. I don't even know if I can show this. Just kind of a rare historic glimpse at the unique actors and bizarre personalities that showed up in Hollywood at a casting call for the Erotic Fairy Tales 2 in 1978, featuring a very young Linnea Quigley, who does a nude dance in a dungeon set as part of an S&M fantasy. This came out in 1978, 82 minutes. Rated R. All right, so I'm going to pause it here, put a couple things away, get some more stuff on the bed, and we'll keep rolling. Okay, so we're back with a little stack of Code Red DVDs, and the first one here is some pretty fun ridiculousness called Night of the Dribbler. It says from the makers of Snuff and Zombie Nightmare. There's Fred Travellina right there. You may recognize him. He was, I'm not sure if he's still with us or not. He was a comedian in the 80s. He was in a few things. So this one is from 1995. And you can watch it with, no, there's no closed caption. It's full screen also. You can watch it in English, and then there's a commentary track. Not much to say about this, just kind of a crazy, kind of a slasher film, and that's what the killer looks like. He has a flat basketball cutout put over his head as a mask. It's a horror comedy. The next one is called Weekend Murders. It says, this is where they found the first body. You'll never believe where they found the rest. This This movie came out in 1972. This is in widescreen. It's rated R. I think this is a British... Let me see. If I remember right, this is a British movie. Let's take a look here at some of the screen grabs. At least they knew the butler didn't do it. He was the first body they found. A large English family meet at the family estate for the reading of their father's will. First time on U.S. home video. Weekend Murders. This one was really good. I enjoyed this one. It's called Trapped. Henry Silva is in here. This is kind of a backwoods slasher where some really cool scenes happen in a cave. There's Henry Silva right there. He's always a great actor. I always enjoy him in movies. Um, 1982. A suspenseful thriller in the tradition of Deliverance and Wrong Turn by cult director William Fruitt, who did Death Weekend, Killer Party, Spasms. Written by John Baird, My Bloody Valentine, Happy Birthday to Me, and photographed by award-winning cinematographer Mark Irwin, who did Scanners, Videodrome, The Blob, The Fly, Scream. An innocent camping weekend turns into terror and murder for 4 university students. So these are the kind of movies that I absolutely love. These are great. The campers, the backwoods, it's kind of a whodunit. There's red herrings. You don't know who the killer is. Sometimes in these movies you know who the killer is right away, but sometimes you have to kind of piece it together. This is a good one, Trapped. I have that on Blu-ray too. This one is called Beyond the Door. This was put out, this is a 2-disc collector's edition that was put up by Best Buy. It was a Best Buy exclusive. Includes the U.S. theatrical cut and extended interview with star Juliette Mills. This is another kind of a Exorcist ripoff. This one came out in 1974. When did The Exorcist come out? 73? I think so. You know, I like these possession type movies. They're fine. They're okay. But I have to be in the right frame of mind to watch these too. It's just kind of like these certain subgenres, like these possessed movies or the cannibal movies or the, like the Satan worship movies. I think they're fine. They're okay movies, but I have to be in the right mind, the right mood to watch them. I just can't watch them at any time. Beyond the Door. It's okay. It's a decent watch. Here's one called The Unseen, 2-disc set, starring the beautiful Barbara Bach. I always had a huge crush on her. And she's married to Ringo Starr. We've talked about this here on my channel many times. And she's got to be getting up in her late 70s, maybe even early 80s. And I've seen her recently. I love the Beatles, and I like watching a lot of stuff about the Beatles, and I keep up with that stuff. And I like the new track that they just released. They're calling it The Last Beatles Song. But every once in a while, I will see footage of Barbara Bach now, and she still looks really pretty for her age. Like, she's gorgeous. She was an original Bond girl. I don't remember which Bond movie she was in, but she's really, really cute. She's just a darling, a little doll. I think she's beautiful. This came out in 1990. Anamorphic widescreen. That's great. This is another very fun movie. I really enjoyed this one. I also do have this one on Blu-ray. This is a TV reporter played by Barbara Bach. And 2 friends head to Solvang, California to cover a Danish festival. When a mix-up at the hotel leaves them stranded without hotel rooms, the girls accept the invitation of a friendly museum owner to board at his farmhouse. That was their first mistake. But the women don't know, but what the women don't know is that something is living in the basement of that farmhouse, something unspeakable, and their stay soon becomes a horrific nightmare when they encounter the unseen. From the original story by Stan Winston and written by Kim Henkel from TCM. That's great. This movie is really good, and I didn't realize it had all that kind of provenance of Kim Henkel being the writer of the movie, and Stan Winston had the original story, and Barbara Bach's in it, so you know it's great. Who directed this? Directed by Peter Folig. Yeah, this is good. If that sounds interesting to you, I mean, you're more than welcome to pick up the DVD, but I would recommend the Blu-ray. So this is a Code Red DVD. I believe Scorpion Releasing put it out on Blu-ray. They were brothers, so they did that sometimes, but I would definitely recommend the Blu-ray for that movie. The next one is called Dead Pit, and this is the unrated director's cut. What is this? I got two of these. Okay, I got two of these because this one is the 2-disc collector's edition, and this one is just the single disc. But they're both the unrated director's cut. Let's see what's on disc 2 for the special edition. You get a still gallery from Brett Leonard's archives, behind the scenes footage for the Dead Pit special effects test footage, the Dead Pit mini movie with alternate makeup end scene, special effects test footage, and behind the scenes with special effects artist Ed Martinez, which is not included on the single disc edition. The movie came out in 1989, and these are anamorphic widescreen, unrated. These are pretty fun too. I like these movies. So that is Dead Pit. Let's see. All right, put that over there. The next one is called Boarding House. Last week, the Hoffman House was opened. I think I got this one from Tanner Ross. I think he sent this to me. He picked this up at a record shop in California a couple of years ago. Last week, the Hoffman House was open for business along with the new residents. Something else moved in. This was one that I didn't have, and Tanner picked it up for me to add to my Code Red collection. Boarding House, where the rent won't kill you, but something else will. In horror vision. You don't need glasses, only a strong heart. Why is it so? It looks like it was really blurry there for a second. Right, this one, I'm not seeing a year. There's a really small print. That's not going to work. Maybe you can see it there. I think that says 1982. Yeah, I think that says 1982. So approximately 98 minutes running time. Standard format. Oh, you know what? I just watched this recently. Vinegar Syndrome put out a Blu-ray of this, and I just watched this about a couple weeks ago, I think it was. And this movie was absolutely terrible. This movie was really bad. So this guy here, he's the director of the film. He also starred in his own movie. And his real life wife plays like the second lead in this movie. And this movie is really bad. He's kind of like a gigolo guy. He walks around his house with just shorts on and not much else. And he's got all these gorgeous, beautiful, model looking type women that live in the same house with him, and they're scantily clad. There's often nude scenes, topless scenes, swimming pool scenes where there's see-through clothes. I watched, and I kept trying to stay with the movie, and I got to like the halfway point, and I'm like, this is not paying off. I'm putting a lot of time into this movie, and it's not doing anything for me, and I took it out. And I was thinking to myself, I'll finish it someday, but I really doubt that I will. This movie is terrible. I'm going to pause it, show you the cover, because the cover of that movie is beautiful, and it's definitely a case of the cover is way better than the movie. Give me 1 minute here. So this is the cover. This was put up by a Vinegar Syndrome sister company. I mean, that cover is beautiful. I bought this used off of a seller, I believe it was on Mercari. It was either Mercari or eBay. And I think I only paid like $15 for it, which to me was a great deal because you get the thick slipcover. I'm just trying to see who put this out really quick. It wasn't officially a Vinegar Syndrome. It was Bleeding Skull, AGFA plus Bleeding Skull, and then there's the bleedingskull.com website. I would say give this movie a pass unless you're like me and you like to collect all this goofy stuff, because that cover alone is pretty cool. I think it's worth $15. It probably is to me, I don't know, but the movie is really bad. So okay, we're gonna move on now. We spent too much time on this movie. Okay, we're gonna keep moving on here, and I want to finish this pile before the video's over. I was hoping to get more today, but I'm talking too much. Here's another kind of a sci-fi movie with horror elements, and it's called Soul Survivor. It says before Final Destination there was Soul Survivor. It wants her. It's waiting. It won't be long now. This movie came out in 1982, and I was reading that right there where it says 1982 RNC Larky layout and graphic design Dana Macmillan. Code Red is exclusively distributed by BCI Eclipse, a Navarre Corporation company from New Hope, Minnesota. I don't think he was with that company very long, because I know Bill was on the West Coast. Before there was Final Destination, there was Soul Survivor, directed by Tom Eberhardt, Night of the Comet. This chilling tale tells of a young woman who is the sole survivor of an airplane crash. Disregarding the warnings of a psychic friend, Denise tries to move on with her life, but she has somehow cheated death, and the Grim Reaper sends his minions to bring her to him. I thought this one was pretty good. Butcher Baker, Nightmare Maker. Good little slasher flick. There's Bo Svensson right there. And this movie came out in 1982 as well. Got some pretty good bonus features. It says the movie tells of a bigoted police detective named Joe Carlson, who's played by Bo Svensson, walking tall, whose homophobia leads him to try to frame high school basketball player Billy Lynch for the murder of a television repairman when he becomes convinced that the killing was the result of a homosexual love triangle. Unbeknownst to the detective, Billy's Aunt Cheryl is the real killer. Oh man, I just ruined it for you guys. Having harbored incestuous fantasies towards Billy for years, his impending graduation has caused long dormant homicidal urges to resurface. Joe's continued plaguing of Billy causes Cheryl to become progressively more unstable, ultimately jeopardizing the lives of everyone around her. Julia Duffy and Bill Paxton co-star, directed by TV great William Asher. This also does have a Blu-ray release, which I do own that as well. This one's pretty fun. This is a nice little entertaining. This is a perfect kind of a day or movie for like a rainy day Sunday. Just pop this on. And these kind of movies are fun with the stop motion monsters and creatures, and this is one that you can kind of marathon on like a rainy Sunday or a snowy, cold Sunday. In my case, in the state of Wisconsin, we have a lot of cold, snowy stay-in days in the winter. This is Jules Verne's The Fabulous Journey to the Center of the Earth. This is the extended European version. Incredible adventures in a fantastic world. A spectacular adaptation of Jules Verne classic. Let's take a look at this cover here. I love these kind of movies. Like Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea or First Man in the Moon, stuff like that. I really love these kind of movies. These big creatures in rubber suits, stop motion, just different kinds of monsters and different settings that the set pieces that they use. The director for this movie also did Pieces, the Spanish slasher movie that's excellent. His name is Juan Piquer Simon. He also did Slugs. I didn't know that. Special features, not too much. You do get it in an anamorphic widescreen, which is everything. And this movie came out in 1975. I strongly recommend this one if you guys like the rubber suits on creatures and different kinds of monsters and stop motion, stuff like that. It's really good. Here's a little twin pack. So the first one you get is called Scream, but it's not that Scream. It's a different Scream. It's also a slasher, but it's a lesser known. It's not the Ghostface Killer Scream. And then you get the Barn of the Naked Dead. And this is part of the Maria's B-Movie Mayhem. And these twin billing, she's the hostess of this program, and she kind of has like a little intro, and then she talks in between movies, and then there's another little piece. Maria Kanellis, and she's gorgeous. It's really, really pretty. And let's see, total running time is 166 minutes. Let me see. So 1981, Scream came out, and 1973, Barn of the Naked Dead, starring Andrew Prine. Barn of the Naked Dead is terrible. Don't even watch it. But the Scream movie is pretty good, I thought. This is a very strange double feature. I don't know why they chose these two to be on the same bill, because they're really not even close to being similar movies. Usually when I think of a twin billing, the movies are at least have a common theme or a similar kind of monster, like a Bigfoot or something. And these really don't have much of anything in common. But Scream is good. Barn of the Naked Dead is absolutely terrible. Here's a good one. This is the kind of movie I love. I know there's a lot of people that hate this movie, but I love this movie. It's called The Forest. It's exactly what it looks like. It's a backwoods slasher movie, campers and woods and monster slasher. Daddy's gone a-hunting. If you go into the woods today, you might not get out alive. The cover, man, that's gorgeous. And this one came out in 1980. Has really good scenery in the movie too. A straightforward stalk and slash tale, akin to Don't Go in the Woods. That's another good one. Now see, I do have a twin billing that really makes a lot of sense. Speaking of The Forest, I also have the twin billing of The Forest and Don't Go in the Woods Alone, which is probably, in my opinion, the best twin billing ever, just because of I like both of the movies, and they're both very, very similar themes, and I really enjoy both of these movies. Let's see, when did Don't Go in the Woods Alone came out in 1982. To me, both of these movies are really fun, an excellent twin pack. And then this is the standalone edition. I also do have the standalone edition for Don't Go in the Woods Alone. It's actually Don't Go in the Woods, but at some point somebody put Alone in there and people run with that as part of the title, but it's really just Don't Go in the Woods. Love those movies. Really good. And this one is really good as well. I talked about this in a different video. This is just a different edition of the same movie, Rituals. This is a better edition than the one I showed previously. It stars Hal Holbrook. So it's a group of kind of older men who get away from their office jobs. They want to get away together in an outdoor excursion and go do a little camping and rafting and fishing and hunting. So these guys want to go out and spend a little bit of time out in the woods together to get away from the city and their jobs and their wives and all that stuff. But as they're out in the woods, they come across a madman who wants to kill them, and he stalks them one by one. And this is another really good movie. I really enjoyed this movie. The ending was pretty good too. I'm not going to give anything away. This movie came out in 1976. If you haven't seen Don't Go in the Woods, Rituals. Well, if you haven't seen Don't Go in the Woods, watch that too. But if you haven't seen Rituals, do pick it up and check that out. And I think the last one for this video, I was hoping to show a little bit more, but I'll show more a different day, don't worry. This is another Code Red. This is a blaxploitation movie called If He Hollers, Let Him Go. You guys may remember that kind of like a little nursery rhyme that was maybe not very PC. So that's kind of what that refers to. If he hollers, let him go. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Catch something by the toe. You know what I'm talking about. So they use that as kind of the title for this blaxploitation action movie. And this one came out in 1968. It has a very there's a lot of racial undertones in here. Well, it's not racial undertones. It's the main theme of the movie. It's just racism and overcoming it and kind of revenge. So I think with that, we're going to call it a video. I hope you guys are well. Hope you had a nice weekend. And here's to a great week ahead of you. I hope everything goes smooth during your work week. And I hope the week goes fast and easy and you start another weekend, and we'll make a couple more videos next weekend. So thank you guys for watching. Take care. And as always, I appreciate you guys stopping by. Later.